Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. Here sitting with me is Violet. Oh my god, okay. Let me tell you, this has been one of my most anticipated reads of 2025 so far. Today, we are discussing Summer in the City by the lovely Alex Aster. When I tell you I pre-ordered this little thing the day I saw it, listen, I've waited forever for this book. And I read it in under 24 hours. Listen, let me tell you, I love everything about this book. I do have the Barnes & Noble edition, which I will definitely post a video here showing you guys, but the sprayed edges are absolutely gorgeous. We have the red sprayed edges with pink hearts, yellow taxi cabs. The front has them in one of their nice date outfits. She's wearing a nice knee-high, or like, I guess, cut off at the knee black dress. And and the map. It is absolutely stunning. But you know what? That's not why we're here. We're here because I need to discuss with you guys how fantastic this book was. And I mean that like from the bottom of my heart. So Summer in the City is about Elle. I'm not gonna lie, I called her Ellie for like the first like half of the book, and I was like, maybe her name is Elle. But we have Elle. She is kind of the, how do I say? She's a very relatable, not your typical run-of-the-mill type girl. She lives in, New York at the beginning, and then LA, then New York again. But she lives in New York. She's not the very big party goer. She doesn't really like clubs or, like the social scene. She's more of the let me wear my pajamas and sit inside the house and watch a movie. And she's a massive playwright. She's under a pen name. So she has made these amazing, incredible movies that everyone just seems to love. But unfortunately, nobody knows who she is. But one day, her friend decides to take her out to a club. They are having a little bit of fun. She's kind of like, I'm not really feeling this. So ends up going to the bathroom. She does end up meeting this hunk of a man named Parker. Which I guess we don't know it's Parker at the beginning, but she ends up meeting this guy. He takes her, or not necessarily, okay, I'm getting so flustered. I am so ready to talk about this book. They go to like the staircase kind of thing, and they kind of do like a very quick hookup, like kisses, feelings, cups, and and he kind of lets it out of his mouth like, I can buy you, basically. And she's like, yo, like, what the fuck? No, you can't. Like, I'm not a gold digger. I'm not out here for just money. So then she ends up leaving, and time goes by. She ends up coming back to New York, and we find out that she is, I guess, house sitting for her sister's house, condo, space, studio apartment, whatever you like to call it. And long behold, next door is that man. His name is Parker. He's our male main character. He is a fucking sweetheart. I will say, though, there was an insane amount of character development throughout this entire book. Elle grows into this phenomenal and very strong woman, and I love the vibe that she gives out. And Parker's the same way. Parker is such a great guy. I don't think their first time meeting did his character justice, because I feel like the first time they met, even though yes, he did say it, I do feel like it was misconstrued and taken out of taken is not a word. Hello. No, ma'am. I feel like what he said was taken heavily out of context, and I feel like that's just kind of what Elle does. She kind of twists and turns things around to fit her narrative a little bit, and I don't feel as if she was the fairest to Parker throughout the entire book. Not until the end, of course, but I feel like she has a tendency of being very harsh and very straightforward and, forgive me, but strict in a way. She's very, this is the way I do things. You're in my bubble, don't touch my bubble. And, you know, although they do have an agreement that, you know, he needs to get away for the summer, have a date, I guess, quote unquote, date someone for the summer without it being serious, but at the same time, it gives her insight and, if you will, experience so that she could better write her next and upcoming, what is it, the movie script, movie thingy. Damn it, Elvish, what the fuck? I just said it. What is this? What does she do for her job? Screenplay. There we go. We'll get it. Oh my god, I'm a hot mess. A screenplay. So, you know, she kind of takes him up on his offer, and eventually throughout the summer, Mr. Parker, bachelor, billionaire, decides he is now catching some feelings for Miss Elle, and she's not having it at all, even though deep down she's catching feelings for him as well. And they end up sharing this very cute kitchen scene together, and she doesn't allow it to progress any farther than hardly anything. And yeah, so it ends in a way I personally didn't like. I would have personally done the ending a lot different. However, the ending was very, I don't want to be with you. You said this was a one-time thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. A few years have passed. They come back. They finally get together. So we do have our happy ever after ending. And I was literally like the little anime girl in bed, kicking her feet back and forth, just squealing like a little girl, because my god, this book was so incredibly cute and so very, very well done. This book quite literally had me grinning from ear to ear from the moment I started it to the moment I finished. And when I tell you, Elle is fucking hilarious. I was laughing my ass off the entire time. I know there was one part where she was talking about, like, she went to a club with, I guess, Parker's girlfriends, and she came in the next morning, or I guess that night, and she was a little bit drunk. She wakes up the next morning, her eyeliner is fucking spread all over her face, and she's like, well, now that my eyeliner has gone south for the winter, I'm just like, okay. Listen. Listen, ma'am. And then, you know, there was one part that I really, really loved. It was just so hilarious. The contractor guy comes in, you know, seconds before Elle was talking to herself, obviously, as, you know, one naturally does. And so the guy was like, yeah, I need to go into the master bedroom and take photos. Like, is it cool with the other person if I do that? And she's like, wait, what? Other person? No, it's just me. And he was like, oh, like, I could have sworn you were talking to someone. And she realizes, she's like, damn, like, do I really talk that loud? You know, obviously forgetting that the walls are paper thin. So, you know, she's like, fuck, what do I do? So she's like, oh yeah, you know, I was just watching the news or something on TV. They both, tell me why. They both slowly turn and look at the TV still in its box. my god. Like, what? Listen, Elle was a hot mess. Elle was absolutely a hot mess. But I loved absolutely every second of this book. And you know, as mentioned originally, I do really wish that Parker was treated a little bit better throughout the book. Elle allowed their first time meeting to kind of dictate the way that she treated him the entirety of the book. And you know, the only thing I really had a complaint about, the only thing, and it's just me and like my morals and how I am personally as a human being, so don't take this as the writing was bad or me complaining, because by all means this book was a 10 out of 10. I'm giving this book a 10 out of 5-star rating. Like, this book was perfection, and I need to go out of my way to buy all of the other editions if they still have them, because I need that in my life. So by all means, I am not complaining about this masterpiece of a book. But like, I don't know, like I feel like when I get irritated, I start saying the word like a lot because I'm irritated. But Parker ends up going out of his way. Elle is a very particular person, if you will. She likes to have things a very specific way. So she goes out of her way to find the perfect coffee shop where she can just sit down and write. Obviously, writing does not happen for the first few visits, and that is okay, Miss Ma'am. You know what? Procrastination is a monster we all deal with. I get it. But she has this pastry that she absolutely devours and loves, and they only sell it on a certain day at a certain time. And just one day she comes in and they no longer sell them. And of course she's like, well, you know what? Damn, like, my life sucks right now. My all-time favorite pastry is no more. Like, RIP. So Parker goes out of his way to buy the, I would assume, I think I remember correctly, he buys the entire chain of that coffee shop, and then not only puts her pastries back in stock, but then I think later on in the book gives her different flavors of that said pastry. And we love it. We love to see it. We love a good, strong, supportive book boyfriend. But she gets irritated and she's like, I don't need you to buy things for me. I didn't need you to do that for me. Ma'am, I need you to jump like 10 levels off of that high horse, bro. I need you to calm the fuck down. And I need you to bend over and thank this man. Like, kiss his fucking feet, because I would do anything if I were in this book and a man did that to me. Anything. And you know, I understand. The argument is also that her father is a very controlling person, and her father doesn't allow her to do anything for herself. As far as like her screenwriting goes, her father ends up taking credit, if you will, for the entire career that she has built up on her own. And obviously, you know, that rubbed me the wrong way, because you see firsthand that she has done everything in her absolute power to build this empire all by herself, and within 2 seconds her father ruins it. So I understand why she is the way she is. I do get it, and I feel very bad, and I feel hurt for her ultimately. But in the same case, I really absolutely wish Parker was treated better throughout the entire book rather than just the end, because I do agree that his character and his character development and I won't say that he's like a very complex character. I don't want to sit there and say that because there's not too much complexity behind him, but just his character as a whole, he's a cinnamon roll and will do anything to protect you. And having him disrespected like the first 75% of the book really rubbed me the wrong way. But I don't think she did it intentionally. To an extent, there are some cases where she did intentionally hurt him and say things that would hurt him because she was hurt herself from their first encounter, but I don't think she did it intentionally 100% of the time. I just think it was a PTSD call and response. Either she had to choose fight or flight, and unfortunately, with the way that Elle was raised, she chose fight 90% of the time rather than just allowing things to be the way that they should be. And that, in this case, would be allowing the puzzle pieces of their relationship fall into place and form this beautiful and romantic, like, how do I say that? How do I say that? Like, it's hard because their relationship, although fake to an extent, I mean, it's fake relationship and fake dating, forced proximity, all that good stuff, but at some point, even when they do go on their quote unquote fake dating dates, you can tell deep down that they are wholeheartedly in that date, whether they at the end of the day believe it and or acknowledge it or not. And I don't know, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this book. I loved absolutely every second of it. I was very grateful to get one of the signed versions from Alex Aster. I love this book so much. And this was, you know, I don't want to be that person, so I'm going to kind of like take a slight turn. It's going to be super quick, I promise. But this last month for me personally has been very stressful, and I have done everything in my power to keep my head up, keep a smile on my face, and it doesn't matter how many times I'm beaten down. I try to keep you guys from noticing, and I picked this book up with no real understanding of what I was getting myself into because I only knew the promo. Like I said in every other book review you see, I don't like reading the synopsis. I don't like knowing about the book I'm going into. I want to be completely blind when I do read so that I can fully form my own opinion. And this book made me feel every ounce of happiness that I have been lacking in the past month because of stress due to ultimately this podcast, kind of. Not that I don't like doing this podcast, but there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that just it's been rough, and I've been stressing, and this is one of the books that completely made me feel happiness and joy. I know happiness and joy are the same thing. Shut up. But I hate that I read this book as fast as I did, and I want to go back and I want to relive it. And I know deep down I'm gonna reread this book within the next month or so. But with that also being said, flipping through it, I have the book in front of me now. There's cute animation, not animations. There's like cute little drawings, like illustrations. Illustration? Is that a drawing? Whatever. There's these cute drawings. Every single chapter, it kind of shows you what that chapter is gonna be about, and I absolutely love that. I feel like that is such a unique thing. I mean, a lot of people do pictures on their chapters or like the page breaks, but I really do love the fact that her little chapter pictures give you insight on what that particular chapter is going to be about. And I don't know, I really wholeheartedly love this book with a burning passion, and I could really talk about it all day because there's so much that I haven't gotten into. You have different side characters. You have the sister. We don't really get to see much about her sister's husband, so I won't discuss much about him, but we get to see the sister, but we also get to see the best friend, as well as we get to see Parker's friends, girlfriends, and I I think her name is Taryn. Taryn? I think one of her names is Taryn. There's 3 of them, I believe, and I loved the side characters so much. If you guys have been with me for a hot minute, you know that I have beef when books have side characters, because side characters are they're very hard to do properly, and side characters are very easy to make one-dimensional with absolutely 0 personality or 0 ways about them, if that makes sense. So it was very refreshing, if you will, to have every side character in this book have a completely different personality and a different way about them. It was very easy to understand who was talking at what point in the book and who the main characters were with, or whatever the case. And I don't know, I loved absolutely every single thing about this book. I will never stop recommending it. I love this book so much. Alex, you did this. And if I'm being honest with you, coming up soon on the podcast is her Lightlark series. I actually haven't read those. This is my first Alex Aster book ever, even though I've been following her and I own every one of her books. I have yet to read them because I was waiting specifically for the podcast, and this video actually wasn't supposed to come out until July, but I couldn't. I got this on my birthday. I turned 30 the day before this book came out, and this book arrived on my birthday, and it was such a great gift, and I loved every second. So if you take anything from this, please read this book. I loved it. This is an adult romance. This is actually her first adult romance book, and yeah. Well, I love this book so much. I can go on about it all day long. Like, I'm just looking at it now, and I'm like, man, I really want to just go ahead and reread it. Like, no, I have other books I need to get done. Luckily, by the end of this year, though, my entire TBR, minus like maybe 2 books, is going to be read, and I have probably like 80 books on my TBR. So I'm very excited about that. But until the next video, I hope all of you have a very, very wonderful day. I hope you guys get everything you want in life today. And yeah, leave a comment down below if you have read this book. Or if you haven't, let me know what's stopping you. Or if it's on your TBR, just let me know. And, let's have a discussion. But until then, I love you guys. I hope you have a very, very wonderful day. Bye.